I get asked all the time from real estate coaching clients of mine that say, Patrick, how do I transition away from feeling like a salesperson and being able to be positioned more as a real estate expert, a real estate advisor? This is such an important topic, so I'm going to break this down for you, and I'm going to give you kind of what are the qualities and characteristics that would elevate you from just being a salesperson that everybody's kind of repelled by, that mostly a lot of real estate agents that I know kind of have an aversion to kind of saying, I'm a sales agent. And how do we position you into a real estate advisor, someone that your friends, family, your community would actually reach out to you and ask you questions about the market, about their home, about what to do, about finance, about all these topics that are available to us today to have great conversations. But let's start with the problem. What I've realized in this, as we're going to do this session today, is that most of the training today, new agents come into the business, what do we typically teach them? It's kind of two things. We teach them the scripting to get a client and to sell a house. The scripting to get a sale. Okay? 90% of the training is designed around that. Then about 10% of the training is really the legal and contract aspects of how not to get sued, right? So here's the deal. Most of the agents, when I get a new coaching client, they've really only been taught how to get a client through the scripting and a little bit about real estate contract law and how to not get in trouble. So as we reflect on that problem, there's a reason why agents who are 5 years in the business and they have sold a lot of homes are really struggling with how to get out of this just salesperson mentality of just getting another deal and getting another deal, right? And finding another buyer and getting them under contract, okay? So let's break this down. This is super helpful for all your past clients, but this is also for new agents or veteran agents who want to really expand their brand as a real estate advisor, that people are constantly reaching out to you to engage with you in conversations and questions about real estate. So let's start there. Let me ask you, how often are your friends, your family members, your past clients, your neighbors, people in your community, how often are they asking you questions about all types of different variations of topics on real estate? See, let's fix that right now. All right, so I was asked by a couple of my young coaching clients, like, hey, how do I do this? What do I study? Right? What do I put my attention? And I wrote down, I'm going to look at my notes here real fast. I wrote down 5 things that we could do to increase your strength as a real estate advisor that I'm not hearing talked about hardly ever in the industry. Let's start with this simple number 1, and a big shout out to Keeping Current Matters, Steve Harney. Right? I love, when Steve Harney published his first white paper, I read it, I think maybe 2009 is when I became aware of his organization and his education. See, in 2009, we were literally, the real estate market was rocketing down. So having access to information to be able to explain real estate economics to my friends, my family, my past clients, people in my community, letting them know that I am a reliable resource for what's trending in the real estate economics, price points, okay? When I started digging in as a real estate professional and learning real estate economics, that's when I was able to achieve what Steve Harney basically requested of all of us real estate agents, which is to become the, I forget what he uses the term, like, have the heart of an educator or have the heart of a teacher, right? It's brilliant. Okay, a shout out to my good buddy, Mr. Jordan Levine of the California Association of Realtors, who is now kind of the chief economist for California Association of Realtors. And him and his buddy Oscar do a podcast. They usually are publishing something, twice a month. And I've been studying everything that those guys are saying about the California economics and California real estate and how the national economics is affecting California economics. Big shout out to one of my top mentors, Mr. Bruce Norris, who I've listened to every one of his podcasts since 2007. And I've been to almost all of his California economic forecast events that he does every other year here in Southern California. And I've been studying everything that he's talked about in terms of learning about California housing market economics. Now, what happens, guys, now that I've put so much attention between Keeping Current Matters and Jordan Levine and Leslie Appleton and Bruce Norris, now I'm not an economics guy, but now I have strength in my knowledge about the housing market. So I could be talking to, literally a very successful CEO, and when they ask me the question, how's the market? I can have a very high level conversation with them in which I can impress them with my knowledge, i.e., I transferred from typical realtor. Well, the market's really hot right now. Oh, what the hell are you talking about? What's hot? Or what do you mean? Is it hot for the buyer or is it hot for the seller? And what does hot mean anyways, right? So I can go from, in that very successful CEO's mind, I can go from average realtor who says stupid stuff like the market's really hot, and I can move up the scale in respect in their mind as someone who understands real estate economics, that he can now confidently reach out to me to say, hey, I heard this, I read that. Could you explain that to me? I'm wondering about this for our family. I can earn the right to become a real estate advisor in the mind of someone very high level, very intelligent, based upon number one, which is studying real estate economics. Okay, let's go to number two. Number two, I would say, is understanding the basics of real estate investing. The basics, really, just please understand the basics, right? When people talk about cap rates, do you understand what that means? Do you, understand a lot about 2 and 3 and 4, duplex, triplex, fourplexes? Do you understand what's happening with the trends of investing in your market? Do you understand some of the basics, the difference between holding and flipping? Do you understand some of the personal investment options, right? House hacking, right? Or, for me personally, buying a duplex, living in it, and then the difference between personal investing, personal finance with investment property versus buying an investment property, that finance, totally different, right? How to, could you teach someone who is 26 today how to create wealth through their first purchase into their second, into their third, into their fourth, into their fifth? Could you, help one of your clients who is maybe in their retirement zone, they've got a ton of money in their stock, or some of my young millennial friends, you may have a friend who has invested in all the different Bitcoins and all the cryptocurrency, and they've got, $1 million of funny money sitting there. Could you advise them on taking 250,000 of that off the top and go put it into a secure real estate investment that gives them cash flow moving forward? So, do you have that ability to have this conversation about real estate investing? Do you understand Airbnb and what's going on there? Do you understand in California the power and the amazingness of the accessory dwelling unit? So, an example of this, guys, one of my good coaching clients was a young man who was about to buy a townhome fully remodeled. and it was in a small community. And I smacked him around and I said, absolutely under no circumstances are you doing that. And again, this is my coaching client who I was giving real estate advice to. And I said, do not do that. And he said, what do you mean? I'm like, it's a nice townhome. It's really pretty. And I'm like, no, go find a property that you can add value to. Go find a property where we can add an accessory dwelling unit. Go find a property where we can, create long-term wealth. And he was like, oh, you're right. That's a good idea, because he has an aspiration to have reoccurring revenue and to make a good first real estate investment. So 2 months later, he says, Coach, you're not going to believe this. This is amazing. And I said, what's up? And he says, I found this amazing property at a lower cost price. That is a great lot that is in a historical area, so the taxes are actually lower, right? And there's a detached 2-car garage in the back. And I was like, yes, right? Put the deal together. Now what we're going to do is he's going to turn the 2-car garage in the back into an accessory dwelling unit, in which he could probably rent out for $1,700 a month. And the front cottage, he'll live in it and then eventually move out. The front cottage would rent for about $3,000. Now, the total house cost was about $650,000, plus the low tax basis. Wait a minute. He can get close to $5,000 a month in rent after he turns the 2-car garage into an accessory dwelling unit. And now this young man is off to the next project. See, are you able to have that level of conversation with some of the people where this makes sense as a real estate advisor? With my coaching client, who's just a young man who's also a real estate agent, when his perception of me as a real estate professional, I went from, hey, Patrick's a good, sales coach, real estate coach. Patrick's a decent real estate agent. And I just moved up the ladder to Patrick is now a real estate advisor. Now they will feel comfortable to reach out to me and say, could you help? What do you think about this? Okay. Number 2, learn real estate investing. Number 3 is we need to learn way more about real estate finance. Okay. Now, I know how you guys, some of you are like me, where I was like, real estate finance, this is so stupid. I don't want to learn it take the test if you're a new agent. But once I started, after I personally purchased 4 homes and started understanding how real estate finance works, then I started seeing how the different options are in the game. I was like, I'm so upset at myself for not learning real estate finance way earlier in my lifetime and in my career. Huge mistake. Now that I've learned all about the different aspects of the different loan types, between the different options between HELOCs and refinances and interest rates, and how to get a cheaper loan at a better rate, what to do with all of the different money, how to pay loans off faster, why that works, how much the cost of a 30-year loan is, on the principals, kind of what lenders are looking for, how to use, real estate finance with all the different, institutions out there, and the difference between, the Wells Fargos and Bank of Americas of the world versus, loan brokers and kind of what they do, right, versus VA versus FHA versus conventional versus hard money lending. See, now that I have an understanding of all of this, when I'm talking to, my friends and my past clients, let's talk about this stuff. Let's go. Now they ask me questions. They tell me the latest thing that they're doing, because they know that I'm not just the average agent who's like, oh, you should get a loan. Have you been pre-approved? The stupidest question that exists in real estate. Please eliminate that dumb question out of all of your minds. Replace it with this. Have you established a relationship with a trusted advisor, loan officer, or financial institution that you believe is going to give you the cheapest loan at the best rate? See, when I studied finance, that's actually, to me now, that makes more sense, is to ask that question versus, are you pre-approved yet? Stupid question. Let's go. Number 4, okay, how we move from average sales rep to real estate advisor to all of your communities, where you would be buyers and sellers would be attracted to you, want you on their team. Your past clients would be texting you and calling you and asking you more and more questions. Okay. Number 4 is understand the basics of real estate remodeling and all the cost association with remodeling, rehabbing. Really what we're talking about is, all the commodities of a home, right? Some of the basics of understanding how the structures of homes are built and the cost related to all of those factors. See, it's no wonder that on the show on Bravo, right, these fix and flip shows are some of the most famous shows out there. I mean, gazillions of views, right? Thousands and thousands of people obsess over these shows. So if you want to go from, hey, you're just a sales agent to real estate advisor, you should learn all that stuff too. And it was amazing for me when, my beautiful wife Carly and I, we bought a house in Carlsbad. We followed the advice. We bought the crappiest house in the great community on a kick butt lot location on this street at a cul-de-sac. So it was the crappiest house, and in a highly competitive environment. It sat on the market for 30 days. And so we were able to actually write a reasonable offer to get it accepted in a competitive environment, right? And then we knew what to do. For the first 30 days, we fixed it up, cleaned it up so that we can move in. And then over the course of the next 2 years, we completely remodeled the master bathroom. We remodeled the kitchen and the living room. We did a redesign on the landscaping. And when we sold it 2.5 years later, surprise, surprise, we got a huge profit. And then we ended up buying another fixer and did a full remodel on that property down to the studs, right? And we're continuing to add more value to that property. Now, when I talk to potential buyers and sellers, right, when I'm in conversation with buyers and sellers, and I let them know that, A, I've done that. I've remodeled a house completely and sold it for a huge profit, and I bought another property and did a full remodel on it. And I have some now understanding of the cost associated, what happens, the timing, the what to do and how it works, and kind of what those trends are and where I'm seeing the value and where I'm not seeing the value. See, now when I'm having a conversation with someone, I move from real estate sales agent to real estate advisor. Now they see me. So friends, past clients, people will call me and say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? We're thinking about doing this. Do you think that's good value or not? See, I learned all of that stuff. Let's go. Number 5. Okay, I've talked a lot about this in a bunch of my other training sessions, but I think this is super essential for all of us to go from sales agent to advisor, which is to learn how to serve our potential clients and to communicate and consult with our potential clients at their stage of life, i.e. demographics. So, do you have advice for someone who is in their early 20s right now? Do you have advice for someone who is just got married? Do you in their 30s, which is kind of the average trend right now? Do you have advice for the people that just had a baby? Do you have advice for people who are now going into, their kids are really at that really important, impressionable school age? Do you have advice and conversation for people who kids are out of school and they're in the 2-story and they're now going into the retirement zone? Do you have advice for people who are now in the seniors, really in their 70s and 80s and what they're doing? See, do you actually have real estate advice for each stage of life where people do things with real estate, between buying, selling, and investing. See, this is the last place to go from I'm just a salesperson to I'm now a real estate advisor. Okay, so there's your 5. Hey, if you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, emotional bits about this, please put down in the comments below kind of what you saw in terms of value, what you need to commit to and work on. That would be fantastic. Give it a thumbs up if this was a valuable information. Please share it with any of your real estate agent friends or any new agent that you run into. I'd be much appreciated. You guys have an awesome day, and let's get on with the summer.